Welcome back to Bookkeepers Bootcamp. I'm really excited to be joined by Lottie Saunders. How are you, Lottie?
I'm good, thank you. You?
Good. I'm really well, thank you. It's been a crazy week. We're nearly at the end of the week, but still so much to do. So I'm really lots of great conversations still to come. Lottie is one of the bookkeepers in our community, and Lottie runs Lottie Saunders Bookkeeping. Lottie, do you want to tell us a little bit about your business, how you got started, and how you got to the point where you are today?
That's such a big question.
That's a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot. So I've had a really varied career. I started as a forensic psychologist, then had the kids, and that just didn't work because I was having to fly around the country when I was doing the psychology. So that didn't work. So worked in early years for a bit. I've done literally anything and everything I think I did when the kids were little. And worked with a friend. We had a VA business. And what really hit me was people kept coming back about bookkeeping. Now, I'd done bookkeeping before university for my cousin and a couple of other people. And I was like, this seems like a real opportunity. And I love numbers. I'm a proper numbers person. When I was doing psychology, I was always doing statistics and multivariate statistics and loving all the really number nerdy stuff. So I was like, I'm going to train in this. And it was, to start with, a business decision. But then my friend had a few issues with her side of the business. And so we decided we were going to, we're still besties, but it was just time for us to kind of set up separately. And so Lottie Saunders Bookkeeping was born. I've got really varied mix of clients, which I really like. I just think, I am on the verge of niching, but because I'm very indecisive, I'm going to have about 3 niches.
That's okay. Tell me about those. Tell me about your journey to working, finding your niche as well then.
So my main niche is woo clients. I love woo clients. I am very woo myself, as poor Jo has had the misfortune to discover on occasion. And one of my very first clients, who is still with me now, is very, very woo. And she is my champagne client. She's exactly who I want. I want 10 more of her at least. She's just finished. She was in a complete and utter mess when I met her financially. And she's just done her first year as a limited company. And she's come out of it in profit and having paid all her debt off.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is. I keep saying to her, you've got to remember how amazing this is as an achievement. Yes, myself and her VA, we've helped guide her, but it's her that's done that.
Oh.
And that's amazing. And, it's all the silly things that if you have woo clients, first of all, they undervalue their services massively. They feel that because energetic stuff is a gift from the universe, they don't think they should charge for it properly. But actually, as I think probably a lot of us in the community know, if you don't charge enough, people don't value it.
Yeah. So it's very similar to how we feel about bookkeeping a lot of the time. I know how to do this. It's straightforward to me. It's just what I do. It can't be very valuable. And it's breaking through that.
Absolutely. And a few years ago, so my cousin is a cake maker. I'm sure there's a proper name for it. And she does wedding cakes. She was living in Australia at the time. And she was so busy, so she doubled her prices. The more she put her prices up, the more people wanted her. And it's that really strange kind of, I think people value you more. So for me, a lot of my niching is to tell these woo clients that charge properly. If you charge properly, people won't suddenly cancel at the last minute. People will use your time sensibly and in a valued way. My champagne clients, actually, she does PR. So it's a very different kind of, she's not doing energetic healing. But it's just, for me, it's that's one of my niches. I have also started doing, about 6 months ago, I started doing some landlords. And obviously with MTD for ITSA, that's a massive thing. I have taken on Hammock as a software, which is flipping amazing, and been approached by the landlord press to do an interview with them, which I was like, no, yes, I'm saying yes, I'm saying yes. Googling madly in the corner, but I'm saying yes. Because you've just got to say yes to everything, haven't you? What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, so I feel like this opportunity to raise your profile through this has pushed you out of your comfort zone a little bit. And I just want to rewind a bit, because you've got bright orange branding, very pink hair. And I wonder, when you started your bookkeeping practice, how did you expect to find your clients? Did you go in there with the strong branding straight away, or has this been an evolution?
So I always just assumed that I would be an offshoot of what my friend was doing, and that I would be quite small and I would just get her clients that wanted bookkeeping. Never really thought about it any more than that. The branding, the orange came first. And I don't know why or how or where, but orange has always been my thing. It's a very spiritually, it's a sacral chakra. So it's about safety, and it's about grounding yourself and being creative. It's so I have orange. Even my Mac desktop is orange. I have orange filing cabinets. I'm not allowed to go in a shop where there's anything orange, because my husband will drag me out kicking and screaming in case we get more orange in the house. But also it means, I discovered through yourselves, when there was a psychology of colour person on, it's also the colour of balance, which is just perfect in every aspect, balancing the books, balance of energy, balance of homework, balance, everything. But also partly for me, when I first started it, I think orange is a really energetic colour. And I think bookkeepers are generally seen by the outside world as very staid and very boring. And I was like, that's just not me. So, and I kind of thought the orange was a non-negotiable. And to start with, I was like, I don't really care what people think. But actually, I think it makes you stand out in a crowd.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if you lined your branding up against everyone else who's watching this, there would be a few really bright colours that stand out, and it's going to get you noticed and speak to the right people. If people are tuned into like the energetic healing and what you described around the meaning of the colour orange, there'll be people who are like, oh, yeah, okay, this is the person I need to speak to.
No, absolutely. And I think, it's very much the people that will be attracted to the bright colours are more my client. I'm not going to get the very safe, very boring. I mean, I've got a couple of clients like that, but they've tended to come to me because they've been recommended by software partners, or they found me on the ICB website, or, and I'm just local to them. But I mean, I just think it really does make you stand out in a marketplace, but you've kind of got to be prepared for that. You can't go out with bright orange sign and then be a dormouse.
Oh, tell me about that then. So has that felt comfortable, becoming known and being visible?
Not at all to start with. It's been a really long, slow journey. Well, probably not that slow actually, but it's been a long journey, probably helped quite a lot by COVID, in that it's given me the time to be introspective and to work on myself, because I'm very woo. For me, a lot of it's been looking at how have I become the person I've become. I was brought up in a house where we were very much told, sit down, be quiet, don't draw attention to yourself, don't put your hand up in class, just very Victorian, don't be seen, don't be heard. And so the kickback to that is you hit your mid-40s and dye your hair pink. And jump up and down and go, here I am. But it has taken, it's still not 100% comfortable. I wouldn't want to have to do public speaking. But again, that's because somebody very kindly said to me when I was working for the police, and they knew I hated public speaking, and I had to give a conference at a police chief's thing. And this person who's supposed to be a friend came up and said, "Oh, I can see why you don't like public speaking. You're rubbish at it."
How rude.
And, like that confidence 100% knocked. I will do it. I know I'll do it. But I think with the visibility, it's doing it a step at a time and doing it at your pace. You can't be rushed by other people. I have a VA now, and she does a lot of my shouting for me. So like with the stuff at the Shard, I was a bit like, I feel like a bit of an idiot going, "Oh, look at me, I've done this. Oh, look at me." So I sent it all to her and she did it for me.
Yeah, that's a good way to manage it, isn't it? Say, this is happening. Lottie's referring to coming along to the Shard when we released the Bookkeeper Rises, and we had a little get together for some of the authors who contributed to the book. And you need to mark those things, and you need to use these opportunities, but sometimes having somebody else to be a third party and not be emotionally involved, to just say, well, this is factual, this has happened, we need to tell the world about it. It's very different.
Yeah. And actually that, it really helps. I was talking to somebody about it last week, and they were like, actually it's a really good tool to have if you've got something to celebrate and you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself because you feel it makes you a bit big-headed. There is absolutely nothing wrong with getting somebody else to publish those posts or write those posts or whatever on your behalf. So don't be backwards in coming forwards, because you can always hide behind somebody else in that way. I was doing some year planning yesterday with Catherine Morgan, and she said to me, "Have you done any lives? Have you done any reels?" I was like, "No." And she was like, "Well, we know what we need to do next then." And I was like, actually, if you'd said this last year, I'd have been absolutely terrified, quaking in my boots. But actually, I'm ready. I'm nervous and I'm not sure. And I did think I'd do a live in here first. Like I might put a reel in the Six-Figure Bookkeepers Success Lounge first.
Do.
Just to feel my way out into that visibility.
Yeah.
So
tell me about, I'm looking at that. Hi, everyone who's joining live, by the way. I'm having a look through the comments, and lots of people saying, I hate visibility. I'd have a panic attack if I had to do public speaking. Somebody said, I have to get my VA to shout at me since I feel uncomfortable. You mentioned about the steps that you can take to slowly sort of ease yourself into being more comfortable with visibility. What was your first step am I right to think you did a rebrand recently-ish, or if I...
No,
you haven't done a rebrand. Okay, so when you've been looking for clients, what were the first actions that you took to start to feel more comfortable with getting yourself out there? Where did marketing start for you, and what does it look like now?
So it started really with just going through my friends, and if I'm completely honest, I don't do a huge lot of marketing until now. I've been really slow, and I've been really lucky because nearly all of my people have come from recommendation.
Do you think that's because you've told people what you do? Do you think your friends are spreading the word?
I think it's been more people that have used me. So somebody found me on the ICB website, and I did a massive cleanup job for them. Because of them, I'm now working with a PLC, which is a very nice piece of, they'll suck the lifeblood out of you, PLCs, I've discovered. But, it's giving me a really good income to get on to the next step. And actually their CFO is leaving, but he's the one, he's really good friends with the person that got me from the ICB. He recommended me to this guy. He's now saying, I've got a lot of irons in the fire, so I may well need you in all these other companies as well.
Wow.
So I think a lot of it is just standing up and being who you are, and people will gravitate to you if they're the right fit. The orange is an unafraid colour, 100%. But also, and I think a lot of this is age as well. You get to a point in your life where you're like, I am who I am. I'm not changing for anyone. You take me or leave me. You know, if I'm not your cup of tea, it's probably best you jog on. You know, it's just the way it is.
Definitely. And there's a level of confidence you have to get to be able to say that and believe that, isn't it?
100%. 100%. I've had quite a few people through LinkedIn, actually, thinking about it. I did Helen.
Pritchard?
Yes, I was going to say she's just changed her name, hasn't she? Got married, changed her name, and I can't remember the new name. But I did her LinkedIn challenge last year, and I got quite a few people through that, which has been really helpful. I do think as well that I think with clients, you have to learn to talk to them at their level as well.
Mm.
So I'm very corporate with a corporate client, but then I have a landscape gardener. And if I don't use at least one F word in a conversation, he gets quite concerned, because that's the only way he takes, you know, I'll be like, where are your receipts? And then I'll get the bag on the doorstep. And for me, the branding's very versatile.
Right.
In that I'm, you know, the corporates see it and it looks very corporate and very lovely. But the landscape gardener sees it and he's like, oh, it's quite a sunny colour. You know, okay.
Yeah, okay, interesting. That's really interesting. So when you're marketing now, I know you said you're not ready for reels yet or lives, and you need to work on that. But what are you posting on social media, and what kind of things are you sharing to market your business at the moment?
So my VA is doing the posting for me because I've just run out of hours in the day. We are in the process of getting, I know a lot of people would call it a social media strategy, but it's really not. We're just getting a diary together, you know. So last year or earlier this year, I did a countdown to self-assessment. So I had a post saying 4 weeks to go till self-assessment. Are you ready? Must admit, I have told all my clients this year that if they don't give me their paperwork till January, I will be charging them double. And I would strongly encourage everybody to do that because it really has worked. I don't want to be, I don't want to be running around screaming at people in January. I'm just not doing it. I just, you know, so that works. I'm building up a following so that I can start some products off. So
that's exciting.
Yeah. See, my brain's already pinging around all over the place again. I'm not very good at staying on one thing at all.
It's really interesting though, because, you know, we can have this conversation, you know, we've had this kind of conversation already a couple of times this week with Nicola and with Kaylee, and everyone is different. Everyone's journey is different. And when you are, you know, when you were saying to your clients, if you don't give me your paperwork by January, I'm going to double the fee. Some people wouldn't get away with that. Lottie would get away with that. And I think it's like, who am I? You know, what kind of person am I? What kind of conversations am I going to have? What would their expectation be of me? And for you to say that, that's going to get people to take the action you need them. And they'll be like, oh gosh, Lottie. And they're not thinking, oh, she's going to charge me double. They're thinking, yes, she's right, I've got to get it done. So it's how you deliver that, really. It's really interesting. But yeah. I love this. Like, I know there's a lot going on for you, and you've got some really big goals for what's happening next. So, and I didn't know that there were products in the pipeline. So maybe tell me a little bit, because I know you've been doing like financial coaching and you've been understanding more about your goals for your business. Let me know what you've been working on and what your hopes are for the next 12 months.
So my son is training with me at the moment. He's doing ICB. And I've got an amazing subcontractor called Natasha, who I got through 6FB, and she's absolutely fantastic. And I love her to pieces. And nobody else is allowed to go anywhere near her because she's mine. And the plan is that over the next year, so I'm going to go out to, and I know this was covered a little bit in Leander's talk yesterday, I'm going to go out to all the estate agents and letting agents about the landlord side of things. So I'm hoping, the plan is over the next 2 years that I'm going to have departments, and I will have somebody in charge of each department. So we're going to have a woo clients, which will probably be me because I can't see anybody else wanting to deal with them. I'm going to have landlords. I'm in a florists group as the bookkeeping expert. I haven't got any of them as clients yet, but they're all very anxious. So they need a lot of, it's that long term, just being in the group, talking to them, offering help. I'm doing a Q&A for them on Monday evening on tax self-assessment, what they can include, what they can't include, that kind of the things that you don't know unless you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going on their retreat in January. And as part of their retreat, I'm doing some money mindset work. And I'm also doing their self-assessments for them as part of that.
Wow.
And then hopefully they'll come on board. If they don't, I've done something that's helping them. And that's all that matters. Because actually, for me, my role as a bookkeeper is to help them make their business really successful and grow in whatever way is right for them, whether it's world domination or ensuring that they can drop their kids off at school and pick them up and not work in the evenings. It's about, making it fit your life. Because I think one of the things is that we think of wealth in terms of money, and that's not what wealth is at all. You can be wealthy in friendships, you can be wealthy in love, wealthy in anything. So actually, I think what we as bookkeepers need to remember is that we're only helping in one section, and that's a really important section because that can then facilitate everything else. So going off tangent again.
It's fine. It's interesting. I love it. I think that by helping people with their finances, you're really taking a lot of pressure off of other areas though. Because it's
100%.
so wrapped up in other parts of life. If you can't get on top of your finances, your business can't allow you the flexibility you need to do the school run. It impacts on your relationships. It affects your standard of living and, so much, your stress levels, your ability to put your energy into other things. So we have such an important role.
100%. I was saying to you before we came on, my champagne client she's absolutely ideal client in every way. She's terrified of numbers. She was a sole trader. She was losing money left, right and centre. She was racking up debts. I've been working with her, I think, 3 years. We've just finished her first year as a limited. She is completely out of debt and she's made a profit. And the change that has made to her relationship with her husband and the time she's got with the kids has been unbelievable. So she now takes all of August off. All her clients know that. She has August with the kids. She's having Christmas off. I'm actually closing for Christmas and New Year for the first time ever.
Yeah.
I'm going away and that's it. I'm turning the phone off. They can't get me. So
what's had to change for you to be able to take that time off at Christmas? Like, what have you done differently in your business this year?
Do you know what? I think most of it's confidence. Confidence that I cannot answer the phone and they'll still be there, which has really taken a while for me. And I think we're all very guilty, particularly at the start of our businesses. I think we're really guilty of trying to be there 24/7. And actually, I think that makes us, you get all the scope creep for one thing, but you're also lessening your value to them by always being there. I've been working with a company and I started with them, I was doing everything, and then they didn't pay me for 3 months. And this was, I've been working with them for a year. So I suddenly said to them, you haven't paid me. And he was like, oh, well, we're having a bit of trouble. I was like, okay, well, let me know when you can pay me and then I'll start working again. And again, it takes a while to get to that. But, a lot of it really is confidence.
We've got to know that we are valuable. Like that business owner knew if he was in trouble, actually, he really needed you at that point. He really needed you.
Absolutely. And that's what I've said to him. You can't, we're kind of like an indispensable part of the business, actually, because without us, your figures aren't going to be right.
Mm-hmm. You can't make decisions without the right information. No, but we've got to know, we've got to stand our ground, and it takes confidence to be able to do it. And I think anyone who's watching this who is new or just starting out, who hasn't had that experience yet, I think you need to know this from the beginning.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. It is tricky, but it comes with time and with working on yourself and building yourself up.
Yeah, I think what we forget often is that we're business owners as well, and we understand business, and often the businesses we work with, just like the reason we have this community here is because Jo and I felt like we were alone doing our own thing in silos, and actually there are hundreds, thousands of people doing the same thing as us every day. So we wanted to bring people together, and the business owners you're working with, often they need somebody to talk to at their level, and we've got to like move away from this idea of being just the bookkeeper down here doing the paperwork with the business owner, up there, and sort of looking up to them as we're at the same level. We can come in and help and have this great conversation, support them, and say, what do you need right now? I know that it's challenging because I'm looking at finances. So what do you need from me? What's going to help you?
100%. And, I think it's funny because when we were at the ICB summit and they all kept saying, you're not just bookkeepers, I was kind of like, but I've never thought I was just a bookkeeper. And I think that's life experience, And because I was doing the VA work beforehand, and I was working with very experienced business people. So, if they say to me, I need to do this, but I don't know how, I can sort of go, well, if, we need to push sales, we need to get lead pages together, you need a sales funnel, you need to do this, that, and the other, and so, much like yourself, if you've got a business, some of the stuff behind, rather than just the finances, what needs to happen to get sales. For me, it's been about knowing it, but applying it to myself. And that's the journey I think I've been on for the last few months, and I'm continuing, is, actually putting myself out there and having trust in myself that I can do what I'm saying I can do.
What are you going to do? What's your next step in raising your visibility then? You've got what are you going to be working on next?
So Reels. I'm doing
TikTok. You're going on TikTok, Lottie? Go on.
No, I'm far too old for that. My daughter will have nervous breakdown.
People would love you. People would love you. Oh my goodness. It'd be amazing.
She's so embarrassed. She goes to a very proper girls' school, private girls' school. And I went in with her one day and everyone was like, oh, your mum's hair's so cool. She's like, oh my God, don't walk near me. It was hilarious. So of course I walked behind her going, Tilda. Yeah, my poor kids. I've completely gone off where I was. Yes, I'm going to do Reels or whatever. So I'm getting lead pages together. And I am working on a product for Woo clients about bringing sense to numbers.
Oh, that's interesting. What kind of can you tell us? Is it a secret?
Well, it's not that it's secret. It just isn't really very formed yet in my head even.
Sorry.
I'm in the creative process for that.
I have bits of paper all over the office with half-formed ideas that one day will be something. I get it.
Somebody said to me the other day, actually, do a Trello board.
Yeah.
And it's a really good idea. If you're having these mad creative fits, write everything on a Trello board and then go back to it. Have an appointment with yourself once a week where you go back to it and go, okay, so hot air ballooning was a really bad idea. That's not going to work. Let's get rid of that. But that kind of what's, oh, actually, I can do that in the next few months. Well, that's a fantastic idea, but that's a year or two off.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It's a really good way to manage it.
I think it's a really good way of doing it. But yeah, it's no big secret. I just don't know what I'm doing with it yet.
Okay.
But I've been told my Reels, what each one's got to be to get them to the lead magnet.
The purpose being, okay, to drive people to a lead magnet so they'll sign up, so they'll hear from you in the future. Okay, that's exciting. Oh, actually, we for members of our Success Lounge, actually, we're having a session next. Our next marketing session is about email marketing. So we'll talk about that then as well, Lottie.
Yeah, and that's the plan. Because so I was sitting with somebody yesterday and they were like, right, so how many people have you got on your email list? And I was like, what email list would that be?
Well, you have to start somewhere. And I think this is like an alien idea. You know, we're here talking about personal branding and marketing all week, and email is probably not part of the plan for most people. It just it hasn't been part of the plan. But there are massive opportunities if you're in people's inboxes every couple of days, talking to them about what you do and reminding them you're there. So it's just another part of this, isn't it?
Absolutely. Like Claire Johnson has done that amazing booklet on MTD, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it's really got my cogs whirring, because in my spirit of saying yes to everything, I got contacted by the Business Event UK about having a stand at Olympia.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of went, ridiculous. And I went, yeah, because I'm saying yes to everything. Yeah, what am I doing? And then, because I helped do some event management previously in my tour around every career, I said to them, well, hang on a minute, because you've got CBD show upstairs. And actually, I have a client who we're doing medicinal cannabis. They're working towards NHS accreditation and everything. So, and there are very few people in the UK who do any cannabinoid-based accounting. So I know that's a specialism that I've got.
Right, yeah.
So, and again, just be cheeky. Always be cheeky. I just said to them, well, hang on a minute. You're saying it's this much. What's the sweetener? You know, what can you do for me?
Yeah.
So I've got a corner stand. So I've got two sides for people to approach. I'm right outside the seminar room.
Oh, well
and
done.
right by the stairs up to the CBD show.
Oh, lovely.
And I've got dual listing.
Well done. Amazing. Because you asked, because you said, what's the opportunity here? I love that.
And so they're actually, a lot of my social media marketing is coming from them, because they're posting once every couple of weeks that I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Which I obviously.
And you know what you can do, Lottie? You can post that you're going to be there, and then they'll reshare that, won't they, as well? So you can.
Yeah, we've been doing it both ways. It's been working really well. So then now I'm in the world of, I've actually got to buy swag.
Yes.
Which, given the amount of swag we've had, I'm kind of like, it won't be hoodies, I can tell you that. So if anybody's got any ideas of what has really, what swag they've had that's been brilliant, but also cheap to manufacture, would be
Jo always pulls everyone in with the sweets, doesn't she? She doesn't tell people that she does bookkeeping. She just has a sweet stand and then has a chat. Yeah. So
I'm doing magnetic bottle openers. That's the one thing we have decided on, because a couple of friends have got them on their fridge, and I was like, a bright orange one of those would work.
Nice.
And
Leander's suggesting that you do Lottie branded crystals. I love, everyone's going to get involved now. Crystals, sweets, Nicola. Yeah. Ask your software provider. Someone has said I got loads from Xero and QuickBooks.
Oh, yes, QuickBooks have already offered, actually.
There you go.
Yes, that's a brilliant idea. I'm not sure about the sweets. I've got a couple of people. So my husband can talk the hind legs off a donkey. He's a police officer, but he should have been a used car salesman. So I'm getting, I think there's 4 of us at the moment, and I'm getting everyone orange branded hoodies and polo shirts. So yeah, I'm going to start with that. Do you know what, Leander? If I did Lottie branded crystals, I'd probably be keeping them all, because I'd be so busy hugging them.
Tracy said, could you do card readings?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, only if Jo doesn't come. I don't want that happening again. That was freaky.
No, I heard about that.
Very scary for both of us.
Oh.
Yeah, so, and, you know, again, I'm hoping that's going to be, you know, not so much even, I'm not expecting to get many customers from that, but I'm hoping it'll be one of those things that people remember me, and then when they need somebody, I mean, I think if we can get startups, then hopefully we can get them before they start doing everything wrong.
I think it's encouraging people to connect with you at that point. You're going to have some chats. You want them to remember you. So something that will stick around forever in their office. The problem with merch is that it's not cheap. So it's, it's an investment, isn't it? And you need to make sure that investment is worthwhile. So is it going to work for you? There's no point take like a load of rubbish pens that aren't going to last or something. So if you're going to do it, make it worthwhile. But really the main goal for you is to get people to connect with you, join a mailing list, or connect with you on social media for some reason. And how do you entice them to do that? So
yeah, well, I was thinking I'm going to butter Claire up with a bottle of wine and potentially get a similar style of booklet on MTD, because they're all going to have to know, because I'm assuming 90% of them are going to be directors that are coming along. So I was thinking that I did like the sweets idea. I am concerned we'll all eat them. But I think, it's just about, as you say, getting
that
people
could be digital, like here's my brain going, that could be digital. It doesn't have to be a physical leaflet. It could be some information for landlords about MTD or whoever needs to know about MTD. And if you had a QR code behind your crystal stand or whatever you had that they can scan, and they put their email address in, and then the automation just sends them this document or takes them to a web page, you've collected their email address at that point, haven't you? Obviously you need to tick the box to agree to join your mailing list and everything, but if it's a case of putting in their first name and their email address, tick the I agree box, and then they go through to your resource that's going to be useful to them, because you can get them to do the QR code thing there and then and put their details in on their phone, and it's really low sort of setup cost for you. It's just a case of writing something that you know about already, and I'll help you with this.
That's a really good idea, because I've already said that I'm going to have I was going to get a QR code, but on a wooden block, going down a kind of sustainable route rather than having business cards. So I could just either have, if they scan that and sign up, then they get the document and all the details should they need them.
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking with that, I might also do like a membership group for startups.
You've got so much to do. I love this. Oh, Lottie. Well, look, I'm excited to see what happens at this event. I want to see lots of photos, lots of social media telling everyone about it. And I'm excited. Let's talk about this MTD document. How can people here who are watching this and learning all about your business connect with you so they can find out more about what you do?
Sorry, completely got sidetracked by the messages then. I was reading away.
I love that. Lots of people sharing actually, what they're doing, like Kirsty saying that she's designing a digital brochure for MTD, which they hope to put on their website and social media. It's much cheaper than printing it. Absolutely. And where do people most people are at their computers all day long, aren't they? So my question was, how can people connect with you, Lottie, so they can find out more about what you do?
Just find me on here. LottieSaunders.com is the website. I've got a Facebook page, and I think the Twitter handle, I don't know if I've done Twitter. I'll have to ask Jane.
I love this.
I was delighted to discover I'm on Pinterest, apparently. Who knew?
There you go.
And that's the other thing. There's going to be printables coming as well at some point.
Amazing. So connect with Lottie on her website or in our Facebook community and find out more about what she's got coming up, and her VA will let you know.
Yes. Don't ask me, ask Jane. She'll do it. And actually, that was something we were talking earlier, just quickly about. I was saying about having to do a brain dump on coding and stuff. That's another thing I'm going to get my VA to do. I'm just going to leave her voicemail messages, and she can populate Accountancy Manager with the coding options.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really one of the things we've learned from this conversation. You have to use the people who have the skill sets in the areas you need. Don't expect to do everything. For anyone who said I'm out of my comfort zone, I don't like marketing myself, or I don't know what to write or how to write it, find someone who can do it for you. That's good. And the same with, if there's a process in your business and you're not the right person to do it, get somebody else to do it.
Absolutely. I've joined the Suzanne Dibble's small business thing. She's doing a cracking offer for Black Friday.
Yeah.
So I've joined that. My son is really, really into law and all that. So I said to him, that's yours.
Yeah.
Go and do. You have to work in your sphere of genius.
Yeah.
Because, that's how it works, isn't it? If everybody works in their sphere of genius, then everything goes smoothly.
Oh,
you know, there is enough in the world for everyone. And, you know, like in here, it's all about collaboration. You know, and I just think if everyone puts themselves out there and says, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, the people who are meant to be with you will come to you. What is meant for you won't go past you. That's the main thing.
What a great way to wrap things up. Thank you so much, Lottie. Thank you, everyone who's joined us live. We're going to be back for 2 more sessions for Bootcamp today. We're speaking to Amanda Hutchinson, brand photographer, at 2 o'clock. And then Jo and I are back this evening. We're going to be helping you plan out your content this evening. Come and join us live. There's also a show up live bonus. So be there at 8 o'clock. We'll see you later. Thanks, Lottie. Speak soon.
No problem. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.